You ready to test this thing out, bro?
Yep, got the shopping go-kart on there.
Damn.
We're gonna be putting some load on her.
Yeah, testing the limits over there, huh?
Yep. I'm on the train.
She looks good on there, bro. It even matches it. Got the yellow seat.
Yep. We still have to finish drilling all the holes for the lift. I did one more earlier today, and that took forever. So this one has 3 now, but we're gonna have to get a better hammer drill and probably a new drill bit because all that stuff is done. It literally takes like half an hour to drill a hole now. Still need to get all the bolts in before we can put a car on it, but it obviously lifted up the shopping cart, no problem. Got our fluid in there, got all the fittings tight, and we need to put the little locks underneath the arms. Obviously we've got the arms on there, but the lift does work. So by tomorrow we should have everything done. I'm gonna try to pick all that stuff up. Yeah, now we can just freaking work on the shopping cart.
Damn, you ready to turbo this thing yet or what?
I know, everyone's still asking about that. It'll get done eventually.
Now you got your lift, you don't have to work on the floor.
Yo,
look at that thing, dude. She just needs a little front mount right here.
Yeah, I still need to put the EFI kit on it. Everyone's still waiting for it. It's coming, we're just so busy.
There's so many things.
Time, but I could just take a day off and probably knock it out. But it will be coming, guys, don't worry. The shopping cart just sits in the corner. And then we also have to hook up the locks still.
Yeah, we need those.
Yeah,
right now. Hook up one side.
Just one side?
Yeah, you just gotta hook up one side.
That's how Shane does it.
So we can bring the cart back down.
You just put a block of wood in here, and then you put the cable on out, you're good.
You good?
OSHA approved.
Shopping cart doesn't weigh very much.
It's making some noises, dude. That's official, bro. Got the lift.
The lift works.
Damn.
I just can't use it to put a car on it because it might fall over. All right, guys, in today's video, we are going to be putting Emilio's bottom end together for Hondaru. Got everything all laid out over here. You excited or what?
I am.
It's about time.
Today's the day, bro. Been waiting for this day for a while.
Yeah, maybe we can have a run in this week. Who knows? We should have everything. We just need to figure out an intake manifold.
Yeah.
But this is obviously where we're gonna start. Get the block together. As you guys saw, we got all the stuff back from the machine shop. We got everything balanced, the whole rotating assembly, and we got all that back. As you can see, we got all our rods, the pistons, bearings, thrust washers. We got assembly lube, some plastic gauge to check clearances. His crank's right over there. And Emilio ordered this little piston ring grinder a while back off Amazon to gap our rings.
Putting it to use.
Yep.
I already gapped the first 3, so I went ahead and labeled everything, so everything is labeled. So I gapped the first one to 22 and then the second ring to 24. That's
the
what Brent,
top and bottom ring.
Yeah, that's what Brent said to do since we're going for power.
Yeah, I think we're going a little bigger on the gap than normal, just slightly.
It's for 800 plus.
Yeah, I think on like my hatch I went like 20 and 18 thousandths, so we're just going a little bit more on these since we're going for a lot of horsepower.
Yep, and we also got the, what is this, the plastic gauge?
Yep.
So we can check our clearances. Everything's stock and standard, so it should be fine, but we're gonna double check it anyways.
Yeah, definitely doesn't hurt. But yeah, Emilio already went ahead, like he said, and got the first 3 sets of rings done. So the top and bottom rings are done in the first 3 cylinders. We're gonna go ahead and do the last one for you guys. And then from there we can start getting the pistons on the rods and start putting everything together. We'll check all our clearances and just go from there. And we're gonna try to have this thing done by tonight. And then she'll be ready for the head and stuff like that in the next coming videos. Yeah, and get her back together.
It's coming soon.
Yep. Well, I guess let's get into it. All right, so we got all the rings gapped, and these actually came with a extra set of rings that we've never seen before. I've never seen them, and Brent did a pretty good job of explaining what they're for.
Your little fifth.
We'll just let him redo that.
Yeah.
Explain how those go on.
Well, you can see where your wrist pin goes into the piston. So what this does is becomes a shelf for your O-rings. So this will ride right here. So you'll put your pin in, and then you're gonna slide these rings on, and then you can put your oil rings on. It's got this little tab on it right here.
Yeah, a little Can they focus
And
on
that'll
it?
drop into one of your little oil control.
That little bump right there?
Yep.
That just goes into a
One of these little holes and
little
locks
hole
it in.
so it doesn't move.
So it doesn't spin. But then it becomes a shelf. And then your oil control rings will ride on it. Without this heavy duty steel ring in here, these rings would just bend and bow.
They can flex right where that gap
yeah,
is for
and
the
it
wrist
would
pin.
car would smoke
Because
or
these
have
are-
all kinds of problems.
It's because of these, right? Because they're bigger.
Yeah, it's because the big pin is part of it, but the piston is heavy duty, so the whole ring pack is moved down to help power control and everything else. So if it detonates, the piston wants to collapse. You'll see a lot of pistons have anti-detonation rings right here. These don't, but this also pulling all the ring packs down allows bigger rings, and then if it does detonate, it doesn't just collapse and pinch everything. So and that's what you're after, because when it detonates, it can just basically dents all the top aluminum some. So
It's fancy.
pushing everything together. But these rings here will just allow support for your oil control rings. It's basically all it is.
You definitely do a
This is
good
the good
job of
stuff.
explaining it. Yeah, because most pistons won't have this extra ring,
Right,
a standard
right.
one.
And if guys want to learn more too, like I just told these guys, but Jay at Real Street does do a cool little video on having the 5 rings and what the 5 rings are instead of your 4. So
And that's the 5th ring right there.
yep, that's it.
Well, now we know.
Knowing's half
Yeah,
the
because we
battle.
opened this box and we're like, what are these for?
Yeah.
Because we had no idea.
But without them, if you put them together, it'd only been like a few minutes of running, and the rings would be wiped out.
So they're very important.
Very important.
Yeah, when
put
you
these
lose one of
clips
those,
they ping, and they just fly off way far away, and they're like,
they go to another dimension.
yeah, yeah. Like Emilio.
They go hang out with the 10 mils.
They hang out with Emilio when he's trying to pull Subaru parts apart. The meme, yeah.
I'm just gonna do it in the shower then. Just
It's honestly not a bad idea.
So before we start putting the piston rings onto the pistons, we're actually going to go ahead and put the pistons onto the connecting rods first, and we will be doing the piston rings last, right before we drop everything into the block. So we're going to get started by putting one snap ring into the side of each piston, so then we can just put the rod up in there, slide the wrist pin through, and then put the second snap ring on. And these do need to go on a certain way, if you guys remember the older videos. This is the top of the piston right here, and these bigger channels cut out are for the intake valves, and then these are the exhaust valves up here. And because of the way the motor rotates, you want these little tabs for the rod bearings. You can kind of see them back there. These 2 tabs, you want those on the exhaust side of the engine. So with this orientated in there, you want to show how that should go on there. So it's going to go together just like that. You can see the little locks for the rod bearings right there, and those are on the exhaust side of the piston. So it is pretty important that you get those right, because then they are working with the way the engine works.
yeah. Fun fact about the Aries pistons too that Brent just mentioned was that they write Aries on the intake side always. So
Yep, fun fact about Aries. All right, so we got all the pistons onto the connecting rods. We did put some lube on the wrist pins, and another thing to note is that when you put these snap rings on, there's this little notch in the side of the piston right here, and then you put one end of the snap ring into that notch, and then we just used a flathead screwdriver to push that snap ring into place. And you want to make sure that the gap on the snap ring isn't right on that notch. You want to take the edge of the flathead screwdriver and kind of spin it. So now our gap is up in that corner right there, and one end of that snap ring isn't just resting right in there, because you don't want the chance of those popping out later on. We got the main bearings in the block, we got the crank resting on those, and then we got some little pieces of plasti gauge on top of our crank right here. We're getting ready to put the girdle on, got the main bearings in there as well. We did put some lube on the ends of the bolts, and we're gonna set this on, and it kind of torques down in a weird way because we are reusing the factory main bolts, and we are going to be following factory specs. And to torque these down, you actually have to first torque them to 22 foot-pounds and then go another 56 degrees from there. So we have this little degree finder that Brent is letting us borrow. We're going to torque them to 22 foot-pounds, and then we'll put this degree finder on there, and then we go another 56 degrees, and then that's just where they are. and they'll be ready to go. And then we're gonna unbolt everything and double check what our clearances are, and then we can pull the crank back off and re-lube everything up. So we're not gonna spin the crank at all right now because there is no assembly lube on anything. All torqued down. Now you get to take it back apart. Got our little squished piece of plastic gauge.
Right on 20.
It's just about 20 thousandths, maybe a little tighter. It's like maybe barely wider than that. So it's probably anywhere from like maybe 18 to 20, I'd say. And they're all about the same.
They're all pretty close.
All right about 20 thousandths.
Yeah.
We actually have the service manual for a K series right here. You can look right here, see the picture of the guy plastic gauging the crank as well. And standard new should be anywhere from 7 thousandths to 16 thousandths. And it says the service limit is at 20 thousandths, and that's pretty much right where we're at. And it's to be expected. The crank's been polished, and it's obviously a used motor, has some miles on it, and we're gonna be running 20 weight 50 oil in it anyways. We're gonna run a thicker oil, so that's gonna be no issue at all. I was just gonna be worried if they were a little tighter than that, obviously, because looser is a little better for what we're doing. Stuff's gonna get hotter and expand, and we're gonna run thicker oil. So that will be perfect, yep. So we can go ahead and put some assembly lube on those and get the main girdle all the way tightened down. Then we can get the rods on there, double check those, then we'll be good to go.
You really know how to lube it, huh?
Yep, can never have too much lube. Remember that, kids. Thrust washers. Almost forgot.
Can't forget those.
Yeah, those are pretty important. Put the whole thing together with no thrust washers.
We would have found out because all the parts are on the damn table.
Do not forget your thrust washers, guys. Grooves face out, away from each other. They do not face in. Those grooves are for oil to pass through and help lube the side of that washer to the crank. Some lube for you, some lube for you, some lube for you, some lube for you, and some lube for you. Oh yeah, that's money. It feels like butter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hear that lube in there? That's good.
Oh yeah, that spins good. Just check torquing all of them, making sure we didn't miss any. They all go to at least 50. So
Yeah,
we know
that
that
was 50, so.
the spec is a little more than that. We read online that they're probably about 56 to 60 foot-pounds when you do it that way from the manual. So torquing all the surrounding 12 mils to 16 foot-pounds, and the girdle will be ready. We are looking pretty good. First rod is, I'd say, right in between 15 and 20 thousandths. It's a little fatter than the 20 and not as fat as the 15. So that's probably about 18 thousandths, somewhere around there. The second one is the same as the first one. A little tighter than 20, but not as tight as 15. If we come look at our book, we have the specs for the rod bearing clearances as well. If you look right here, the standard new clearances should be anywhere from 8 thousandths to 20 thousandths. And the service limit is 24 thousandths. And this is for a K20 A3 engine, but these are all the same thing. So that means we are good to go there. We're actually within the new spec, so we are good to go there. Now we're just gonna double check the middle two as well. We'll just do that off camera because you guys get the idea. Then once that is done, we can go ahead and start putting the rings onto the pistons, lube up our rod bearings, and get everything put together. We did also go to 45 foot-pounds on the rod bolts when we tighten those two down. The torque spec for those rod bolts online is 43 foot-pounds, but we just go a couple more and we don't have any issues. We usually always just go 45 foot-pounds on the ARP 2000 rod bolts. So once we check those, we'll be ready to go. Also, one more thing, don't forget to lube your bolts with the ARP lubricant that they come with. So we got the clearances checked on the two middle rods and those are ready to go. We already got those back out of the block and now we're ready to start putting the rings on our pistons. We already went ahead and did all of the bottom rings that Brent was talking about, that one bottom ring that goes right here. That guy is pretty tight to get on there, but we got it, and it has a little dimple in the ring that just lines up with any one of these holes right here so it doesn't move. But yeah, that first ring is on there, and then we're gonna go ahead and put on this middle oil ring right here. Then we'll do the two oil rings that go on either side of that. Then we'll do our second ring and then the top ring. Then we'll be ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and just turn on the GoPro and get these knocked out. And then we can obviously use our compression tool, clamp everything together and get them in the block. All right, so we just got the rings onto the pistons. We got the first one in the compression clamp. So we're getting ready to hammer that guy in. Emilio's just lubing his holes real quick.
Oh yeah.
Gotta make sure we're nice and lubed up. And we can go ahead and try to hammer the first one in. And we are recording on the GoPro right now because our G7X is dead. But I'm honestly liking the GoPro. It looks pretty clear. You don't gotta worry about any focusing issues. So that's kind of nice.
I have to just switch to those, huh?
Honestly, yeah, the Hero 7's not bad because we got the image stabilization on this one.
You see my face?
I never used an older GoPro because they were always so shaky, but this one looks pretty clear. There she is. Oh.
Last one. Damn, she looks pretty.
They look beautiful.
That's it.
Bottom end is done. Oh yeah.
She's ready. Ready for 1,000.
They look so good.
Feels good too.
Nice and smooth.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Put your hand over it.
Yeah, see if they make that suction. Oh yeah. Here, go quick. Oh! Oh yeah, they're making some pressure. Oh!
Break your damn hand.
It's like... World is not flat.
No, it isn't.
No more EJ.
There she is. It's gonna be the one. This is the lucky one right here. I feel it.
Yeah?
You know,
The 9-second one?
I blessed it, you know. Spend some time with it. You know, meditate a little bit.
Has your special touch?
I told her what I wanted. You know, hopefully she listens. They never do.
What did you ask for?
I can't tell you. It's not gonna come.
It's a
true.
secret?
It's a secret, bro. Can't tell you my wishes. One less step. Next is the beautiful head that we got.
Yeah, the 4-piston head.
I wanna
Get the
paint
pump
it.
on there.
I want
And
to
the
paint
pan.
it too. Clean it all up, paint it. Probably just gonna do silver though.
Yeah, like the
Factory.
Odyssey. Like how
Yeah.
you painted that one.
Yeah, that one was super clean when you put
Yeah,
it
that
in
came
there.
out good. Hell yeah. Well, and there you go, guys. We got the bottom end put together for Hondaru.
Still early too this week.
Yeah.
Still early in the week, so
If everything goes good, there should be no reason why we can't fire it up this week.
yeah. By
We'll just have
Friday.
to, like I said, put that other intake on it because we don't have a good intake yet. But just to fire it up, make sure it's running good,
Yeah.
figure something out.
Break it in. That just needs to go in there. And then this needs to go in there. And then that needs to go down the track. That's it.
So while Emilio was finishing up his block, I was adjusting some things on the lift. I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the beginning of the video, the safety latches were off. It would be like chack, 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 chack when you'd be going up. But now if you listen.
Now it's even.
Well, the bottom end is together. Emilio just put this piece of plastic on it, that valve cover to keep some dirt out of it until tomorrow. And we will be continuing to get more done on that. Get her in the car.
Yep.
Get her going.